without necessarily being mixed together or divided is because they span different realms of existence. And so there's nothing really overlapping between them. Not, for example, the qualities of the soul, such as being immaterial, this makes it so that it doesn't overlap with the body. For example, you can't have two things in the exact same place. You can't have two things in the same place. But with the soul and the body, the soul being immaterial is able to be one with the body without destroying the body's physical location.
Mm-hmm.
And so, since the divinity fully transcends both body and soul, it is able to unite with both without destroying either or without taking overlapping over them. And so, this is the reason why they don't mix together, nor do they get divided, but they are one.
Yeah, I understand that. I think my biggest thing is, so according to Aristotelian logic, something can't be like A and not A at the same time and in the same sense. So
Exactly,
that means
exactly.
Christ's nature can't be created and uncreated at the same time. So that's what you could say, that Christ is created and uncreated if you're saying he has two natures, that there's basically two things that we both relate to as Christ. If there's basically the human nature and the divine nature that are united in the person of Christ, because then he's not created and uncreated in the same sense. He's created in the human sense and uncreated in the divine sense. But if you're conflating them to one nature, aka one thing, then you do have contradictory attributes, which I'm not sure if you can have.
Well, that's the thing. We don't believe that they become one simple thing. We believe that the one nature is divine and human in a different sense. The sense is because it is composite. It has distinct objects contained within it, and it is the whole being out of these parts. For example, going back to the analogy of the house can be both, for example, red and white, but in different senses. The redness, it's in one part of the house, while the whiteness is in a distinct part. And so, again, using the analogy of human nature, humanity is composed of body and soul, and yet it is able to be something in the body and something else in the soul without these overlapping. And you do make a good a criticism of this wouldn't make sense if it was like if the two became a third new thing. But the whole idea of a third new thing, a tertium quid, as it's called in Latin, this whole idea, it comes from them being confused together. So the two original things are lost, and now you have a third thing which is distinct from both. But the idea of composition is opposite to this. The idea of composition says that the whole is identical to the parts. Both parts remain, and the whole is them together. It is their oneness.
Okay, so I
All
think
of
I
it.
see what you're saying. It makes sense. I can see how the Miaphysite position avoids the errors that it's suspected of, but to me it still seems unnecessary. It seems like an unnecessary way to complicate that which is not complicated. So I think the explanation, I would need a better explanation for why the Chalcedonian position, why you would see that as incorrect.
Sure. And that's why I wanted to go back to a bit of my earlier criticisms.
Mm-hmm.
I don't believe you uh, explained to me the whole reference question. What would be the reference for the name Christ?
Okay, yeah, you're right. I did not answer that. Do you want to say something else, or do you want me to answer that?
Sure, I'll go ahead and list off my other issues.